Welcome back, adventurers in organization. You're listening to the JJ's Declutter podcast, the place where fairy tales meet fabulous home habits.
Today's tale, Goldilocks goes glamping. This isn't your average story of porridge temperature crimes. Nope. This time, Goldie's headed into the wild, where she learns the hard way that camping without decluttering is a one-way ticket to chaos.
Expect hammocks, hoarding, and hammock hoarding, along with some serious side eye for overpacked coolers and mystery Tupperware.
So, Goldilocks packs for the trip. Once upon a time, Goldilocks decided she needed a break, a glamping getaway. But as she packed her car, the pile of just-in-case items grew taller than her tent.
Goldilocks said 3 yoga mats? Check. 5 pairs of hiking boots? Definitely. 4 gallons of lavender bug spray? A girl's got to be prepared.
Squirrel Guide said, "You're not prepping for the apocalypse. You're camping for the weekend. Do you even know what's in that third bin?"
Goldie said, granola or glitter? It's a mystery snack craft kit.
So let's go over some tips for packing. Use a packing list for camping. If you didn't use it on the last trip, reconsider packing it again. And an easy way to do this is by making an Excel sheet, because you can customize it based on where you're going, what season it is, and it makes it real easy to make those changes. And you can also mark on that whether you did use it when you're unpacking it.
Right, right. And you want to group the items by function. So cooking things together, sleeping things together, clothing, emergency, keep them all like with like, and that will help keep you organized.
And don't take your entire pantry, especially expired seasoning packets from 2006. Because if that's the last time you camped, maybe they are from 2006. But the worst thing is you go camping and you expect to make something with one of those little packets, and then you find out, uh, you really don't want to use it because it might make everything taste funny.
Right, right. So Goldilocks arrived at Bear Hollow Glampground and promptly exploded her gear across 4 campsites.
The camp host said, "Ma'am, you can't block the trail with your marshmallow buffet and 17 throw pillows."
Goldie said, they spark joy.
Goldie must have been expecting Marie Kondo.
Instead, she got
E-
us because we're more fun.
So even if
No
it's
offense, Marie.
glamping, even if it's glamping, clutter makes outdoor spaces unsafe and overwhelming. Use hanging organizers for vertical space in tents. But you don't want it touching the sides of the tent. So if you're going to hang things, these things from the roof.
Right, right. Because if you have anything touching the inside wall of the tent, if it gets if there's moisture or rain outside or dew, it'll come through where it's touching.
That's
So
including your sleeping bag.
yes, true, true. And if you use clear bins, they help you see what you packed, and you can avoid 3 hours of tent diving to try and find the bug spray. So let's talk about the camp kitchen calamity. Goldie said, where's the spatula? Oh, wait, here it is, stuck in the oatmeal pot, under a headlamp, next to a moldy banana.
That sounds like a clutter casserole. So let's
Yeah.
go over some kitchen tips. Assign
Hey.
everything a home, even outdoors. Use totes with labels like utensils, dry goods, cleanup. When I used to go camping with my large Girl Scout troops, we would actually box it, the dry goods and the utensils and everything according to like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So everything was all in one box. So the people who were in charge of making it would just grab the box and they could go. So
Very cool.
pre-prep is helpful.
Absolutely. And you want to wipe down as you go to prevent raccoon rave parties. We've all seen those if you've been camping. All righty. And bring only multi-use kitchen tools and skip the electric popcorn popper. Now, I do use some multi-use kitchen tools, but I also have, I mean, a spatula is a spatula, a wooden spoon's a wooden spoon. And can you do extra things with it? Ask my mother. I was spanked with a wooden spoon, so I
Oh
know they can
no.
be used for another.
So
We
it
didn't
is
have to go
wasn't.
cut a switch. We just had to, mother just would go to the kitchen. Anyway.
And Julie, where do you what other type of vertical storage are you using when you're camping?
So some of the other things that I do is I'll hang things on the tree that's next to where my camp is, or we have our dining canopy. So I'll hang some things from there so that the kitchen stuff is there and available. Um, and it's off the ground, which is good. So that's one of the things that we do. And when it comes to like the trees, you can just tie a rope around the tree and then you can hang things on that. So
On the
you can
rope.
have your mirror and you've seen movies where the guys are standing there and shaving at the tree. Well, I don't shave at the tree. I brush my teeth and look at myself.
So when it was time for bed, Goldilocks had three choices, and none of them were just right. One, an inflatable bed that deflated mid snore. Two, a cot with three broken hinges. And three, a hammock full of dog hair and disappointment.
Why did I bring 6 bedding options and none of them work? Because she didn't follow our tips. So here's our tips. You want to test your gear, all your gear at home
Yeah,
first, your air mattresses, your
yeah.
flashlights, your hammocks. Um, you want to store sleeping items in compression sacks to save space. And I thought it said compression socks, but it's compression sacks. And that's what I use when I air travel. I have these things that you roll swish the stuff out and it just blows the air out. And it's not anything that you have to plug in, but they work really well. The great big ones work really well for your sleeping bags and pillows and things. And you do want to limit one cozy, reliable sleeping solution per camper so that everybody can be comfortable.
And here's a tip from a camper who actually camped. We used to have so the adults got to sleep on cots, and the children that we took, the campers, the Girl Scouts would sleep in the tent. There was a tarp under the tent. We did it the right way, on the ground, but we made sure that they had a thin mat to go either on the ground or even on the cot, because the cold air or the cold ground can make you cold as you're sleeping, because the ground is cold at night. So either
Right.
the ground or air can make you colder. So make sure you have some sort of layer that will protect you from that, with including your sleeping bag.
Right, right.
Did you bring blankets when you went camping?
We did. I would always bring a blanket, an extra blanket, because number one, I'm always cold. So I know I'm going to have a blanket at some point. And what we discovered is we wanted to make sure that we had a blanket for each camper because um, when you get in those sleeping bags, they're so confining that you end up like unzipping them so that you can move around a little better. So if you have a blanket that you can, pull up over you, you can have that movement without the cold. And so that can be very, very helpful. And
Oh,
also, blankets are just good.
and here are two tips when you're camping. Put on clean socks before you go to bed, because you're going to sweat. And if you have sweat on your feet, it's going to make your feet cold and wet. So putting on dry socks is important. And I started sleeping in a hoodie when I went
Mhm.
camping, because you lose the majority of your heat to the top of your head. And
Right.
I can't sleep. If my head's cold, I don't sleep well. So I always wore a hoodie to bed.
Yeah,
But
that is good.
so let's talk about the car clutter catastrophe that can happen when you go camping.
Oh, yes.
Because when your back seat looks like the before photo of a junk truck, it's time to declutter.
Goldie said, I think my sandwich is under the emergency poncho next to the second cooler. Oh my gosh. So the tips would be use backseat organizers and
Mhm.
trunk bins. It's just you're containing things, keeping them together, and it helps you organize and it helps you fit more in. Um, Always want to take a trash bag and cleaning wipes. That's a must. Um, and after every trip, remove all the items from the car, even the things you didn't use. Repack only what's necessary next time. The rest can go.
So the forest bathroom fiasco. Goldilocks needed to powder her nose, but her toiletry bag was an explosion of expired sunscreen and 3 types of glitter shampoo.
Who needs glitter shampoo and glitter dry shampoo?
Nobody. Literally nobody. So, some tips for your bathroom supplies when you go camping is curate a mini bathroom caddy with essentials only: biodegradable soap, toothbrush, and deodorant. Don't bring hotel size freebies you never use. Um,
See, I
although,
do.
and
So,
I,
and
I go ahead.
is it about the environment? Is that why they're thinking that? Because they're
Yeah,
great.
I
Okay.
think it depends on whether or not you're camping and you're bringing your own water
Mhm.
versus camping with running water. Because if you have limited water supplies, it's best to use the low suds and all these other expensive things. But if
Right,
you're camping in at like a campsite that where you have access to more water, I think it should be fine because those things go into the sewer. They
right,
don't just go into a stream or something like that.
right, right,
And another tip is to rinse and dry everything before packing it back into your carry-all bag or your backpack, to avoid the funky forest smells. And you may also want to make sure that you bring a couple of gallon Ziploc bags just for those wet items.
right. So one of the other things that I highly, highly recommend that you have in your tent, inside your tent at night, is a bucket with a lid, an empty bucket with a lid. Um, I'm going to share with you a quick little story. I went camping with girls' camp. A bunch of us old ladies went camping together. And I was in a tent, and my friends were in their trailers. And of course, they had like air conditioners going and, noise machines, all that stuff. And all of a sudden, I heard something outside my tent, and it was a skunk. And it was getting into a loaf of bread that it smelled, apparently, and got into my thing. Anyway, I had to pee really bad. And the skunk was outside my tent door. There's not a back door on a tent. I'm just saying. And my phone was dead, so I couldn't even call my friends and ask them to come help me. So I was stuck in the tent forever. But I had to be very, very creative so that I could eat. So always take a bucket. A bucket with a lid would be good. Would be really good. So, okay, now let's get back to Goldilocks. Goldilocks says, I finally get it. Janice can't even speak. She's laughing so hard. I finally get it. Glamping isn't about bringing everything, it's about bringing what works.
Yes, simplicity makes space for serenity.
Also, fewer things to unpack when you get home. Hashtag win win.
So our final tips for camping are: think intentional adventure, not rolling storage locker.
Yes. Yes.
Declutter as you repack. Don't bring the mess home. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And your campsite can be cozy and clean. And the clean part is important because you don't want ants. You don't want other little critters that are
Right.
in your area, like I mean raccoons or I don't know,
Skunks.
skunks, bears. If you're that's where you're camping.
Right. Right. Yeah, we were scared by pack horses one night. We thought for sure they were elk ready to charge.
Yeah, so
They weren't.
depending on where you're camping, it's a good idea to make sure that your food is secure in the appropriate manner. So,
Right.
and that's why the plastic bins that have the locks on the side are much
Hmm.
preferred than the ones that just go close like this.
Oh, right, right. So, yeah, so the glamping rule number one, you always need to test your gear before you go. And maybe don't store trail mix and bug spray in the same pouch.
Yep.
So, with
So,
that, are we good?
yeah,
All right, we're going to try this again. Keep it, keep it simple.
keep it intentional.
And as always,
Keep decluttering.
decluttering. Yeah, we did it.
Sort of.
It took us 30 episodes, but we got. Oh my gosh. With that, you have a fabulous, fabulous week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.